Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Mess. So, taking on a fun and exciting video for you guys today with some big decomp energy attached. That is because as of about 18 hours ago, as I record this voiceover, Sr.Bananaman released their static recompilation of Harvest Moon 64, and it's joining the pantheon of all of the different static recomps and PC source ports we have on the N64 side of things, because honestly, if there is one console that's definitely far and away in first place for all of these different ports, it is the Nintendo 64, and Harvest Moon 64 is definitely one of those games that's absolutely a vibe, and even if people think Animal Crossing when it comes to quote-unquote farming simulators or life sims on the N64, Harvest Moon is here as well, and it is one of those things. It is a fun game, but if you're into this genre, definitely is for a very specific audience, but for the audience it is for, they're going to absolutely love this, because not only does it allow for widescreen, higher frame rates, and everything else quality of life improvement wise we get with static recomps, it also has built in off its version 1.0 release mod support, as well as some really fun mods out there that not only make the game easier to play as far as kind of just going through the systems, but also improve the look as well. Before getting much further involved though, do me a huge favor down below, hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, I got a Patreon link down below as well. And I'm really curious, you leave me a comment down below and you tell me, are you a fan of Harvest Moon or not? I've definitely tried to get into these games, and it's one of the realities of the channel. Not every single recomp I talk about is my favorite game in the world. That would have to be something like Bomberman Hero on the N64 side of things, but Harvest Moon 64 I've tried to play a few different times. I get maybe an hour or two in, and then I kind of drift off and do something different. But now that this is available as a static recomp, I might throw it on my Steam Deck and just sit around in bed late at night, being maybe like an hour or so in, and then just kind of coming back to it later. But I know for the people that love this game, this is absolutely going to be a massive release, and I am excited for each and every one of you, so you tell me down below, Harvest Moon 64 absolutely stoked, or maybe a recomp that you might pick up later on down the line. But I would say the nicest feature of Harvest Moon 64 recompiled, outside of the fact that it now is released and exists, is that version 1.0 launches with everything you would need. You're going to have your general controls here, as well as just basically the ability to rebind the controller any way you want, or even play with a keyboard, which I think actually might be a benefit for some Harvest Moon players out there. Of course, you're going to be able to expand the aspect ratio and go to a higher frame rate, as well as using MSAA anti-aliasing up to 4x, which is nice. The sound sliders are there. Honestly, the sound seemed perfectly fine to me, but the big thing is going to be the mod support here. You're going to be able to put in whatever mods you want, so long as they are made for this actual recompilation. And after the soundtrack break, I'll go over some of the best ones out there right now, but I really appreciate it once something actually has mod support off the top. All you need to do is give it your totally legally owned Harvest Moon 64 ROM, and then go ahead and hit start game, and you'll be jumping into the quote-unquote action. And even if it isn't the most action-packed game in the world, it has cats, it has dogs, and you can pick them up, and that means it's going to be a 10 out of 10 in my opinion. Any game where you can actually interact with the animals, especially the dogs, is going to be a fun time. But like I said, there's so many different N64 games out there, and before you leave the comment, you'd rather see something like Sin and Punishment or Wave Race 64, those will come. Every single developer kind of picks the game that they have some nostalgia for, or really loves and wants to bring to people, and in this instance is Harvest Moon 64. So if this is not the release you were hoping for, trust me, there's a lot of developments out there on the recomp and even decomp side of things. I think you're going to see a lot more of these things released in 2026, and probably a metric crap ton of them in 2027. But I will say the upscaling here and everything else, it looks really nice, because this game, of course, is a mixture of 3D and 2D. I think it actually does a really good job, even in the static image here before we actually move. If you take a look at the sprite, there is a little bit of an outline, and it kind of pops off the background with this isometric view, where the 3D elements look really nice. And honestly, because this game is a little bit more 2D than 3D, I think it looks better as a static recomp or via emulation than it does on a real N64, even if you are through a nice scaler. And it's one of those things that is a personal opinion of mine. The aesthetic here, I just think looks better with internal rendering resolution uploads. But let's go to the first of two soundtrack samples so you can get an idea of how the music actually sounds in the game, because it's not only a fun soundtrack, but it sounds great coming out of the static recomp. And I'll be right back. We'll talk about mod support and which mods I would recommend. So everything sounds correct there, because the fact that you can pick up the dog makes it the best N64 game ever made, at least in my opinion. But all jokes aside, I will leave a link in the description below to the GitHub page where you can grab the 1.0 release, and you will see here it kind of gives you the information on how it was made, and then you're going to see at the bottom of the page you can find mods for this recomp at the Thunderstore page. So we're going to go over all the mods that are available, because I would say at least one of them is absolutely essential, and the other one you might want as well. And that really is fun. All these mods off the top that you can actually play around with, and you can even convert saves over to the appropriate format for the recomp as well, and that is a really nice thing. So you'll see here right now there's 4 mods available. Harvest Moon 64 Enhanced, absolutely essential reading. Skip Breakfast, you can kind of play around with that if you want. FOV config, again, I think you can maybe leave that as is, at least for me personally, and skip to the title screen is a definite improvement as well. But Harvest Moon 64 Enhanced mod is going to make the game that much smoother and that much more, not easy to play, but a little bit more refined, because it'll kind of skip over the pain points and the little bits of the game where you feel like you're kind of actually delayed, like watering your plants in the rain. But again, this is type of thing, it's not going to be for everyone, but I'm so happy it exists, and it really shows that 2D recomps are going to be a thing as well. I would love to see more of the 2D stuff from N64 come over, and again, I get it, this is a mixture of 3D and 2D, but it still has more of that 2D aesthetic. So I'll bring this other dog over so that all of the cats and dogs can hang out in the world. I don't know why that always entertains me, but it 100% does. Probably because my wife and I have 2 dogs and a cat. They're always doing something together, mostly getting in trouble in my house. But it's one of those things, cats and dogs, you know how that goes. But as we go further into the recomp again here, it's going to be a fun time, and it's going to be maybe the best way to play Harvest Moon 64, outside of playing it on something like a PVM. But even then again, even with that CRT blending, I just feel like maybe it gets a little bit too blurry in spots, because this isn't the most colorful game in the world. I'm not going to say it's lifelike or realistic either, but it has a certain aesthetic that I feel like, because of that lack of vibrancy in all the colors and maybe more of the earth tones, looks a little bit muddier even on a CRT. But you can leave me a comment down below and you tell me, when you're playing N64 games, are you on a CRT television, are you on real hardware with a scaler, are you on FPGA, or are you on recomps and software emulation? Because honestly, in 2026, there's so many incredible ways to play these games, and static recomps and PC source ports are just the next frontier, and everything we've had come before it. And like I said, this is video game preservation along with just improving it, because it's one of those things that maybe people will play this game that never did before, now that it's in widescreen and now that it has mod support. I don't think it's going to be for everyone, and I like to mention my nephews when I talk about these recomps on the channel, saying they might play this game now that it's recompiled but wouldn't touch it on N64. But I just don't think that this personal kind of gameplay style is going to hit with many younger generations right now, unless they played Animal Crossing during the pandemic. Then maybe they'll be interested in another game like this. And it makes me really hopeful that one day we will see a Mischief Makers recomp as well, because that is definitely my favorite, more pure 2D game on the N64. But let's do one more soundtrack example so you can get the audio quality again. I'll be right back with just a little bit more info. So I named the pony Boney there as a reference to Wienerville, because 1, it was an amazing show back in the day, and 2, my wife and I, when one person is leaving the house and the other person is staying home, will say to each other, "Now get out of here," just like Boney did. One of those deep cuts, but I kind of felt like explaining it, because otherwise we might read that in a little bit of a different manner. But honestly, getting Harvest Moon 64 as a static recomp is a fun time. This is one that I told you was going to be coming, and trust me, there's even more N64 recomps and PC source ports on the way. Hopefully maybe in July or August we'll be talking about Paper Mario, and hopefully Donkey Kong 64 will have a release as well, because I'll have news on that later on in the week. But this really is exciting. I love these recomps. I love how much love N64 is getting in 2026. It really deserves it. It's making so many of these games even better. Sr.Bananaman did an amazing job, kind of kept me updated on Discord in the background as to when this was going to come out, and I hope you guys do enjoy it. So again, the link to the GitHub is in the description below. There are comprehensive directions, but you can definitely set this one up. All you need to do is select a file and then go from there. But short of that, we're done. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.